Yesterday was a humongous day in local AI. We had GLM 5.3 flash drop, as well as the sleeper agent Qwen 3.8 flash next. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because this may end up being the 2-spark king. Now, benchmarks have just came out on these models, and I want to say I am currently testing both of these right now, and we'll be doing a follow-up video on the 2-spark king by tomorrow, okay? And I'll tell you why. Today, we're going to be talking mainly about Qwen 3.8 flash. As we did do GLM yesterday, we do now have some benchmarks out there kind of going in on where this particular model sits amongst the charts. Now, I have utilized both of these models so far, and with 3.8 flash, I am getting faster speeds than GLM. And I've been running them, I have 4 sparks, and I've been running them TP2 on both ends. Now, I've done TP4 with GLM 5.3 as well, but I have not done TP4 with Qwen 3.8 flash. With that said, let's just talk about the model real quick, and we'll dive into why I think this may end up being the sleeper out of the two, and we'll get straight to it. So, Qwen 3.8 flash is a 180 billion parameter model with 6 billion active. Now, it's actually a 125 billion parameter model with 6 active, but then there's like this 51 engrams of embeddings that kind of make it become a bigger model. But the way that it's utilized, it does not sit within the VRAM itself. It can sit on your SSD. It could sit on this system RAM. It's a very unique place that this thing can go that I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, I'm still learning about, because the way that these embeddings are, you can kind of move them around to kind of make this model fit. With that said, it is a text and image model, and it being an MOE, it is slightly faster than 27B. Now, we've seen MOEs of the past, like 122B, active 10B, which was not actually better than the 27B dense model. It took a little bit more to get over that. I think even Qwen 3.5 artificial analysis put the 397 billion parameter MOE model behind 27B. For the first time, though, we see that this model is actually sitting above the 27B model, not too far off, but enough to actually show that there's finally a model that is beating this dense model out of the 27B, realm. Now, we have it scored on the artificial analysis index at 56, coming tied with Gemini 3.7 flash, which is crazy. Gemini has just dropped the ball, and better than DeepSeek V4 Pro and even DeepSeek V4 Flash, this version, as well as the brand new Vision version that drops. So this is the Vision, sits at 51. And then I think that they actually put the original 0731 above that, above the new Vision model, which is very odd, but they put it above that and still below GLM, which sits way up here at the 60, or my bad, GLM Flash that sits at 57. So it's basically 1 point behind, which is pretty solid. Now, on the Agentic side, that's where things kind of separate a little bit, but still not too much. GLM 5.3 flash is sitting at 58, and then they have this sitting at 56. So moving down, though, it's, as far as their benchmarker that goes from the real world task, you got it pretty high up there. Agentic tool used for banking, the terminal, the coding's a little low. I think, though, it's still kind of like on par with GLM. I don't even know where GLM Flash is on here. Regardless of the fact, the model is a very solid model, especially for the amount of parameters in it being an MOE. So, this is some of the initial testing that they had done. From me, an Agentic standpoint, I'm going to be honest with you, running GLM 5.3 flash and running this, there was not that much of a difference from that particular standpoint of getting tasks done, automation. The models themselves do the job correctly. And that's how it is for a lot of these models, especially for me and people out there that use it from an Agentic standpoint. People that are trying to build and do coding will be able to explain and understand and see more issues than a typical person, maybe like me, that's using it more so from an Agentic task standpoint, automations, running over and over task for clients and customers. It handles the job great. Very, very solid. And as far as speed goes, I don't see it here, but I will show you once again. I don't even think they had it on this chart either, but I'm going to show you where this model really shines, in my humble opinion. The model does also think, as you can see, it thinks a lot, just like the 27B. I had to take thinking damn near off, so they're putting it even higher up on the answer and reasoning, and I don't know if they even are selling the API for this one yet. This is pretty much a preview. So with that said, this model also, guys, max context is 256, but it can be brought up to 1 million with Yarn. So where I currently sit with this, and we will dive in deeper tomorrow and hopefully have backing with it, but here it is. TP2 to DGX Sparks, you can run GLM 5.3 Flash and you can run 3.8 Flash next. But obviously, GLM 5.3 is the smarter model based upon the index, based upon from an agentic standpoint. And the fact that this model, as you can see, I have ran 5.2, and to this day, 5.2 has been, I would say, the smartest open model that I've ever ran. I love DeepSeek. It goes back to what I said though. The reason why I stuck with DeepSeek, I would run GLM, but then I went back to DeepSeek is because I felt like GLM 5.2 was here and DeepSeek was right here, but the speed difference. So this is intelligence, DLM, DeepSeek, intelligence, right? Speed, GLM, DeepSeek speed, like that. The speed gap was so tremendous that that little bit of intelligence gap did not make sense. You got GLM running at 30 to 40 tokens per second while DeepSeek is pushing 120. That's the point that kind of makes it there, right? So that same thought process will be going on here with Qwen 3.8 next. Now, it's not smarter. It's not far behind. From an intelligence standpoint, they're ranking it 1 point. Everybody's going to have to try this out themselves. You're going to have to do it yourself because everybody's different from their particular needs. But try it out yourself because if you got 2 Sparks, you can run both. Try it out yourself. 56 compared to 58. On the agentic standpoint, which is nuance, intelligence, 57 compared to 56, that may be nuance as well. Both of these are multi-model. Keep in mind though, GLM does have 1 million context natively, while Qwen 3.8 is the 256 with the yarn. That also said, the KV pool that we were able to get, because we did do recipes, which I will link down below in the description. As of today, with 2 DGX Sparks, we have a KV pool with an MTP4 of 672,000. So you can bump your max context of GLM up to that, or you can run it at 300, whatever, but you have that. Now, also though, we've bumped it up and we're testing out right now as we speak, 4-bit NVFP4 KV with GLM, which apparently you can get it up to 1 million. So you'll be able to get a 1 million max context with GLM 5.3 Flash. Keep in mind, that's the bigger model. So what does that mean? Well, that means that more than likely, and I'm going to see what I have here because I just can't remember. We were doing so many tests yesterday. So currently, my last deployment, we had 600,000 KV pull for Qwen 3.8 Flash on 2 DGX Sparks, and that was with FP8 as well. I definitely think we can get that bumped up more. I think we just got to move the GMU up, and we can get way more. It's more than likely we'll probably be close to almost doubling it, very close to that. And then once we bring that to 4-bit, if we want to run that 4-bit KV, we'll probably get that at 1 million as well. Where all this though is changed is the fact of the size. GLM 5.3 Flash is hitting about 30 to 40 tokens per second. Peak 40. 3.8 Flash Qwen is hitting peak 70 with 50 to 60 tokens per second. That is, and here's the icing on the cake, that is before DFlash or DSpark, any of these speculative, draft models that are going to increase the speed even more. And that again, and once again, is why I need to see, but Qwen 3.8 Flash next might be making more sense. I still think, and me personally, I have 4 Sparks. My current setup may be TP4, GLM 5.3 Flash, or even the big GLM, and then run my 3090s with Qwen 3.8 27B. That might be the case, but I'm going to at least try it out and test it. TP2 3.8 Flash and TP4 3.8 Flash. You have such a big KV on both of these models at TP2 and TP4. They both should be able to fit a DFlash drafter in front of it. DSpark 2, but maybe go with the DFlash. And once you see that getting applied to both of these models, you're probably going to see, and this is where I'm talking to y'all, I can't fully remember, but DeepSeek V4 Flash, I want to say was sitting at 30 to 40, maybe 40 to 50 before DSpark. Once we got DSpark put in there, that thing jumped up to 81 tokens peak on TP2. TP4 hit 120. So what we're seeing, the possibilities here, is that GLM 5.3 could probably hit 50, 60, maybe 80 tokens. Who knows? It's a bigger model. It's bigger than DeepSeek as well, so it might be slightly slower, but it can hit, at least I could see this possibly getting up to 60. But Qwen 3.8 Flash that's currently sitting at peak 70, DFlash, you're probably gonna, you might be seeing your model jump up to 120. TP2, you know, we don't know it. The sky's the limit with that. And that's what I'm saying. It might even be, I don't want to jump and say 200, but it could be a very, 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 very fast model coming in at TP2, especially even TP4 if it scales. Sometimes it doesn't scale, sometimes it doesn't. DeepSeek, it scaled from 80 to 120, depending on TP2 or TP4. So at that point, you might be where you see these intelligence 1 point behind, Agentic 2 points behind, but speeds double, triple, you know, 60 here, 120 there on that one. So that's where it's like, you know, which one do you want? Do you want faster with a little bit less smart, or do you want the smart but a little bit slower? You know, and that's where it's your preference at the end of the day. I could run GLM 5.2, I could run it, you know, but I decided to run DeepSeek V4 Flash. DeepSeek was a point above. I ran this instead because I had 120 tokens per second compared to 40. And I felt like with the tasks that I need for DeepSeek, DeepSeek was able to do everything GLM needed to do for me. It wasn't that much of a gap. So we're going to dive into it. Once we actually get the DFlash, which should be dropping soon, I'm just waiting on it. I'll have some better numbers out there. But I think that, you know, Qwen 3.8 Flash next is definitely a sleeper. I'm looking at what people are saying. A lot of people are running it. They're loving the speeds. Today, I'm going to be messing with GLM. Like, I'm going to mess with GLM today. And then if I have enough time, I'll switch over to 3.8 Flash and run it TP4 and test that out as well, because I want to get some more updated videos for y'all. But the benchmarks are out. I wanted to put that out, and I wanted to kind of give you guys the playing field of where we are at currently with these two models, as far as my Spark users out there too. And also just basically, yeah, within the next couple of days, we're going to have some better news, and there'll be a king of the Sparks. I think people are going to still go with GLM just because it's smarter and it's the benchmarks are amazing. And I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing model. But I just think that, man, once they see the speeds that come out of this 3.8, that's going to change people's opinion. These are both visual models. They both have vision and they're very, very solid. So, oh yeah, can we just talk about the fact that GLM Flash is beating 4.8 Opus, and then it's also this Qwen is beating 4.7 from an Agentic standpoint. Both of them are beating Opus 4.7 and 4.8. That's crazy. And it's almost beating Fable. That's wild. That's wild. Tech 2. We'll see, man. Let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below, because I'm very, very interested on these at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'm out. Peace. I love y'all.